this is where discipline overtakes motivation.
Right.
Motivation's, a luxury when you have it. But a lot of times discipline is gonna be the thing that you need to get through it.
I like that. I've never thought of motivation as a luxury, but that makes total sense because sometimes it's just not there.
This is Couch to 50K. How to finish your first ultra marathon.
All right, let's dive in here. Mobility.
All right, dude. How we doing?
Doing good. It's month 2.
Yeah,
Month
man.
1 was awesome, but also difficult, right? There was a lot of soreness, and fatigue. You just I'm just tired, mainly like immediately after, the next morning, and following the protocol here, like walking, a lot of walking, running, and doing my cool downs, doing the things we were talking about. But it still got me, it definitely still it was just really hard, right? In outside of the workouts, I've got the excitement and the momentum, and there's everything's in place, and that's a lot of fun. But outside of the program, right? Like the normal times when I'm trying to play with my kids, I'm like, oh man, I just want to go to bed.
Yeah, dude. I think that will get better, that part. But bad news, we're going to call month 2 the boring month. Like you mentioned, that excitement, that initial, oh, I'm excited, I'm doing something new, I'm going to get after it, the motivation. Now you're still really far away from the goal. We still got a long way to go. And you're not gonna do a ton different this month. We're just gonna slowly increase a few things, and so it's gonna be a challenge because you gotta want to. This is where discipline overtakes motivation.
Right.
Motivation's a luxury when you have it, but a lot of times discipline is gonna be the thing that you need to get through it.
I like that. I've never thought of motivation as a luxury, but that makes total sense because sometimes it's just not there.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? Like sometimes you're not feeling it. Like you don't want to do it. And that's where the discipline comes in. And being so far out still, there's going to be the thought of like, oh, I still got time. I still got time. But we're progressing. We're progressing every week, and you don't really have time to not progress every week to get to the goal. One of the things that we're going to kind of put in our head this month, our mentality is going to be to dream big, but create realistic goals. And what we mean by that is like what you're going to go try and do, Holcomb Valley race up here in Big Bear, 33 miles in the mountains in June. Like that is hard. That's a big goal. That's a really big goal for anybody to do. But you don't need to tell yourself you're going to go out there and win the race. You need the realistic goal of finishing and being successful is big. That's a big goal as it is. So don't overdo it mentally. Remember that when you started, you were on the couch and you're going to run 33 miles in the mountains. And that's a huge goal anyway. And we're going to train like the goal is extremely important and it matters. But we're going to set a realistic one. And so for you, that might be this time, right? For somebody else, it might mean this time, right? We're not really getting into the specifics of what your goal is, but let's be realistic with what we're training for. I think that will help from getting yourself to a place where you beat yourself up. You start comparing yourself to other people. You start looking at, what this guy's doing, what that guy's doing. All of a sudden your goal might not seem as big, It's
Right.
like, oh, like I'm not like going out there to win. Why do I need to follow this plan? And why do I need to run 4 days? I could probably do it if I only run 2 days a week, But remember, we're coming off the couch. we got 6 months to get ourselves ready for a 50K. And that's going to take a lot. That's a really big goal. And let's just keep it in check.
I like it. Yeah, no, that's really helpful because I've always been a bit of a procrastinator. And so that mindset definitely rings true for me. Like, oh, it's 4 months away still. I could probably skip this one. I'll make up for it next week. Right. And then that's just a week lost, or at least a workout lost. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's an important thing to keep in mind for sure.
Well, and so we named this, the specifics of this month, mobility. Not that we're super old, but we're getting up there. And we just spent a month, running significantly more than we did for the last year. And one thing we don't want to do is injure ourselves. I think as we get older, overuse injuries, like the most common thing. And I think a good way to prevent that is to really on your workouts, your like outside of running workouts, start to like incorporate some kind of mobility exercises. I think like YouTube or, just Google like a PT routine for like your hips and your knees. But just like generally, activating outside of running, is going to go, really going to help as we progress. Like
sure. Yeah. I've been through a couple rounds of PT, and I remember coming out of it, this is years ago, but thinking all of this could have been prevented if I would have been doing these exercises I'm doing for rehab as prevention.
Totally.
Right? Where's the PT as prevention? I wish that was preached about a little bit more. Maybe the industry doesn't want us to, but it's a big thing, right? Like if you're doing those exercises and strengthening the little muscles and the stabilizer muscles, and that's how you prevent the injuries in the first place. And that's probably the thing that I'm most worried about derailing this whole thing is some sort of injury or sickness, or something that would set me back, call it a month, right? And now we're out of time, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm doing this in real time, 6 months leading right up to this race. Like there is no time to be wasted or to take a setback. But that also goes to sustainability. I mean, that's how I'd like to live my whole life, right? Nobody wants to be sick. Nobody wants to be tired and injured and trying to always overcome that, right? Let's stay out in front of it, prevent it, stay healthy, stay fit. And like switching gears a touch, like I have already felt coming out of the first month, the difference in, I talked about the pain already, but I've also noticed the uptick in fitness, right? It only took a quick month of really low intensity stuff as prescribed that, coming out of it, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's only been 2 days. I feel ready to go, and that's a cool feeling, which does kind of, balance out for me mentally the motivation side of it, right? Because that's a motivator for me, because I'm like starting to see the changes or feel the changes, a better way of putting it, right? I haven't seen a huge change in like my body composition or anything like that, not yet.
It can fit.
It's coming. It's coming. But it's a long game. We're playing the long game here. We're doing a long race. It's a long thing that we've set up, and I want to stay patient at the same time, but it's exciting. It's exciting to already have seen a little bit of fitness come back and feel that endurance base start to widen and deepen a little bit to where I feel like I can go a little bit longer. Like I'm feeling good at the end of the workout as opposed to being gassed. And I think that will go a long way. Nice. Hopefully we can keep building on that.
Yeah. Well, and one more note on it being the boring part, and then we'll get to the exciting part of the month. But, mobility exercises are like not the thing that's going to get you chicks at the gym. So you got to, remember that you're doing it for a purpose.
Right.
And that's the last I'll say about it being boring. Now for the exciting part, we're going to really start to run with a purpose. So like, let's come up with some specific types of runs. We're going to call like a normal run, like a base run. We're still running 3 to 4 days a week this month, but we're going to take 2 of our runs and we're going to make them specific. One of them is going to be a hill run, like hill repeats or just a hill. And the other one's going to be a tempo run. A tempo run's going to be like a high intensity, almost like a race effort run. Whereas now we've kind of been going out with like we're going to walk, we're going to move, we're going to run, just to get out. Now we're going to kind of try to bring a purpose into the run. And so each week out of your 4 runs, you'll do like 1 hill, 1 tempo, and then 2 base runs.
All right. Yeah, there's already a little bit of fear creeping in right there. Tempo runs sounds hard.
Tempo runs are hard. And when it comes to the hill runs, like let's not go, run up Sugarloaf just yet. So I would probably start out with repeats instead of one big hill.
Okay.
There's, it's obvious that running uphill is hard, but running downhill is arguably harder on your body. So it's not going to be as hard on your muscular, system, but there's a lot of impact, and that impact wears you out. And when it's almost like body hardening, so like going uphill when you're tired, it's just like, it's exhausting, but going downhill when you're hurting hurts. Like it doesn't feel good, and you slow down exponentially. So when we're talking about hills, we're talking about up and down, not just going up. I would go find like a 1/4 mile hill, something that's going to take you a few minutes to go up, and do a few of those repeats in a regular run. So run yourself over to a hill, do some up and down work, and then run yourself back.
I like it.
I think that's a good way to get the hills going. Later, we're going to want to be doing big climbs, big descents. But for now, let's run ourselves over to a hill, run up and down it a few times, start to figure out how that feels. There's a lot of technique, especially if you're starting to incorporate some trails into the runs. Running downhill on trail is, it's like loose rock, and there's every step's different. You really got to focus. So you're just getting yourself into that. And then when it comes to the tempo run, don't, like we talked about last month, and stuff, you don't need to go out the gate sprinting, more ease yourself into it, but let's put in some hard miles in the middle of the run they should feel like you should really be exerting yourself. Your heart rate should be high. You shouldn't be able to carry that pace for too long. And then your other 2 runs, you're going to want to keep those at your base. Same thing. Walk at the start, get going, get yourself moving, run, walk a little bit in the middle, walk at the end. But also we're going to increase our mileage just a little bit each week. So where last month we were probably 9 to 10, 11, 12, something around
right
there.
In there, yep.
Now we're maybe getting up close to 15 or so. Just maybe each run is 1 mile longer. We're not looking to do any long runs yet.
Okay.
You might start to be feeling like you're ready, I could go out and run 10. But again, there's a whole recovery part of it, and we're really focused on consistency and the frequency and dialing in how we run and kind of running with a purpose this month.
I like it. Yeah, we should definitely make sure we come back to hill and pacing strategy
For sure.
In detail. I don't think we need that quite yet. It's time to just start doing it, right? Let's conquer some hills, do some repeats.
Yep.
Get the body feeling it, and then we can talk about how it incorporates into an actual race pace, pacing strategy. How hard are you going up, how and down, and those types of things. Excited to cover that a little later, but for now, get out there and do some hill repeats.
Yeah, and don't keep the heart rate up. You're probably going to be walking on the hill if you pick a big enough, steep enough hill. Pick something significant. It's gonna, it should be a workout. Where your base runs are kind of like a consistent when you get into the hill, it should be like a different feeling. You should be a little bit of a grind.
Yep.
And then coming down, you don't want to let off.
Okay. That was my next question. Do I get to walk back down the hill?
No, you want to run.
All right.
I think run down the hill. You want, and this we'll talk about later. We're really not thinking about the race yet, but you don't want to give up free speed.
Right.
And downhill has a lot of momentum with it. And so what I think you want to do is you want to build your body up to withstand the impact of running down the hill, but you want to accept that gravity. So
right.
It's harder on your body, but it's not hard on your cardiovascular system, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Yep. Where going up, you're probably taking really short steps and it's really close together and it's not really that like impactful on your body, but your cardio is probably like your heart rate's through the roof and you can't breathe and snot's coming out of your, So they're just different difficulties, but you really want to get good at both.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. So bomb it up the hill, little active recovery coming back down, still moving fast, pushing forward. Yeah. All right. Wrapping my head around it. It's feeling good. I feel excited about it.
I think it's exciting because you're going to get to incorporate by going out and seeking out a hill. Now you're going to put yourself up in a different position. You're going to see some new things. It's going to start to get exciting. You're going to start to feel, I would imagine by the end of the month, the hill that you choose, if you stick with like the same one, is going to be way smaller than it was the first time you ran up it. And
just like month one when everything started to get a little easier week by week.
Yeah.
Totally. I like that. Yeah. I mean, that comes back to our mantra for the month, right? Dream big, but create realistic goals. We're staying realistic, but we're dreaming. I like that.
Yeah. And, I think there's a little bit of, I don't know how to say it, but this is kind of where you can start to feel like an athlete.
Okay.
If you're...
That's sexy.
Well, like, who's doing hill repeats? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you weren't doing hill repeats last month. You're just trying to get off the couch. So, it's like it's like a reward, like now you're like, okay, like I'm going up some hills. Like I'm doing like some specific run workouts. That's like going to be good for your mental health, or I don't know if mental health or just, your motivation. It's going to keep you motivated. You're going to start to feel like this is paying some dividends, but it's going to keep introducing harder things to you, as the plan goes on.
I like it. Are we still cross training this month? Do I still get to do some other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Couple days a week. Right. I don't bike riding, rowing, the gym, rock climbing,
Yeah.
Rock climbing's great for mobility. All the like different movements, and the high stepping and the twisting your body in weird ways. Rock climbing is a really good. I love to go like scramble. Like we're really lucky up here, so I go over to like North Shore, and there's like boulders that are really easy to climb around on, but you can get in all different kinds of movements and all different. I think that stuff's really good to keep your body in a healthy place. Riding a bike's great too. Riding a bike is awesome.
Great. Yeah, that sounds good.
Even though it's freezing out.
And the last week of our month, we get to pull back a little bit, relax a little bit. Again, we're going to get deeper into recovery and that taper week, if you want to call it that. Maybe that's more of like right before the race, but it's still more of a recovery week than the other three. Yeah. So what are we doing there?
Yeah, we're going to like back off significantly. So, cut it down to two runs. I mean, if you're extra tired, just run once, do the cross training, or, run twice and don't do the cross training. If maybe there's a opportunity to take a nap instead of do a run, sleep in a little bit, don't waste it by partying, right. but take a little bit more time to recover. So it's very important as we progress to have these off weeks. So the more we get into this training, the more the off week's going to feel like a disservice, because
Right.
you're gonna be like, oh, I gotta, your body's going to be used to running, and doing all this stuff, but it's progression. You're going to gain a lot. Your body, your muscle, all you're doing for these first 3 weeks of the month is breaking your body down, and then you give yourself a week to let your body kind of build itself back up. The idea being you come out of that rest week stronger because you break it all down and then it comes back and it's stronger. If you just keep breaking down and you don't let yourself come back, that's injury. That's like injury 101. So yeah, enjoy the week. That's like, as we talked about, like with your schedule, like this is schedule your trip, schedule your thing, you don't have to have running overtake your life, but if you want to go do something, see if you can put it into that last week, just make it easy on yourself. A little mental break, a little physical break, and then you jump back into it at the start of next month.
Awesome. Yeah, that feels good. Dream big, realistic goals.
Oh yeah.
I feel good about month 2.
Sweet, dude.
Let's go do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Couch to 50K is an Elevated SoCal project. All rights reserved.